I was doing a live stream proposal in a graveyard and accidentally mistook a 1,000-year-old ghost emperor for an extra. She was about to go full demon mode, so I shoved a $2 ring on her finger, leaned in and whispered, "I'm here to marry you." But she just stared at me blankly, then leaned in close and quietly asked, "Why did you make me wait so long? Why are you only coming for me now?" That hit different. I hired her for $100 and she's out here acting like a seasoned pro. Then out of nowhere, wind howling, rocks flying everywhere. She grabbed my wrist and screamed through tears, "Do you have any idea how lonely I've been for thousands of years? Why did you just leave me here alone?" The whole crew got blasted back by the shockwave, and I stood there thinking, bro, these cheap special effects look way too real. Then a dark shadow appeared behind her, half her face started changing, and the livestream signal just cut out. I was covered in goosebumps. I turned to run, but froze the second I looked back. She was staring at that ring while tears streamed down her face, choking out, "Why did you abandon me? Please don't leave me alone again." Those words brought back memories, abandoned by my parents as a kid, no one to rely on, growing up alone in an orphanage. Every night I'd cry myself to sleep, screaming in my dreams, "Please don't leave me." And somehow she looked exactly like that version of me. I reached out, smoothed her hair, pulled out a ring I had ready, slipped it on her finger, pulled her close, and whispered, "I'm back. I came to marry you." Her demon form slowly faded, but then an insane burst of energy exploded out of her. My head slammed into a tree and I blacked out cold. I don't know how much time passed, but when I opened my eyes, the whole crew was staring down at me. I rubbed my head and asked what the heck happened last night, and where the girl went. The director looked just as lost. He said after that gust of wind, everyone passed out, the cameras got knocked over, and they didn't catch a single thing. But somehow my account gained 1 million followers overnight. After wrapping up with the crew, I went home and told myself last night was just a dream. Ghosts aren't real. It had to be a hallucination from hitting my head. I crashed on my bed and knocked out almost instantly, sleeping straight through to the middle of the night. Half asleep, I reached for my phone and felt something silky smooth, and something heavy pressing down on me. I looked up and saw a white-haired, red-eyed girl sitting right on top of me. I snapped wide awake, every hair on my body standing up. What is going on? Am I still dreaming? If this is a dream, I should be able to control it, right? So I pressed my hands together and kept muttering, "I can't see anything. I can't see anything." She didn't budge. She just tilted her head and looked at me like I was insane. I panicked. Wait, why isn't this working? Maybe I was too tired to wake up. So I went for the backup plan, pain. I bent my finger back as hard as I could and let out the most blood-curdling scream of my life. I was curled up on the floor in agony while she crouched down and curiously asked what I was doing. That's when it hit me, and this is actually real. I nervously reached out and touched her, solid. I stammered, "How are you in my house?" She gently took my hand and said, "My dear, of course I came to find you." I completely froze. The whole thing last night was a fake script I made up for views, and she actually took it seriously. Was I really supposed to marry a ghost? A ghost who's been dead for over 1,000 years? Yeah, I was not feeling that at all, and she could tell I was about to back out. She looked at me and asked, "Are you going to abandon me again?" I was about to explain, but the room suddenly filled with a cold, dark wind. Her emotions were spiraling, and she coldly asked, "What exactly are you trying to explain?" I folded immediately. Survival first. I grabbed her hand and scrambled to keep the situation under control. I never forgot what happened last night. My feelings for you are completely real. If I hadn't passed out, I would have brought you home with me. She brightened up instantly and broke into the goofiest, most wholesome smile. Looking at that innocent face, I felt my own cheeks heat up. I was actually kind of flustered. I pulled myself together and asked how she even found my place. We're at least 12 miles from the burial site. She thought for a second, then suddenly launched herself into the air. She just hovered there, looking down at me, and before I could react, she shot straight at me. I instinctively reached out to catch her, but she phased straight through my chest. I was completely frozen. Before I could process what just happened, she popped back out through my chest again. I let out a full scream, while she flew back like she hit a wall and crashed hard onto the floor. She sat up holding her head, and honestly, she looked kind of adorably dumb doing it. I watched her and thought the most unhinged thought I've ever had. How is a ghost this cute? But before I could even enjoy the moment, she barely got back on her feet before her ancient floor-length wedding dress tripped her up and she went down again. I couldn't help myself. Doesn't it make it impossible to walk in that thing? She blinked like she actually understood, then raised her hand and started casting a spell. A wave of green light wrapped around her whole body. My eyes went wide. Okay, so real magic is actually a thing. I spun around fast and yelled, "I said change your clothes, not take everything off." Then I rushed to the closet, grabbed some of my own clothes, and shoved them her way. I stood with my back to her, stiff as a board, silently roasting her in my head. Seriously, how is this ghost such a complete airhead? Once things finally went quiet behind me, I slowly turned around. One look and I stopped dead. My oversized shirt was somehow tight on her. I just stood there for a second. I leaned over and fastened the top button for her. She just stood there, completely clueless, not knowing what to do with herself. She muttered seriously, "The shirt feels a little tight." Then I took the chance to ask, "So what's your plan going forward? You don't actually think I'm your husband, do you?" She nodded without even hesitating. "Wherever you go, I go. Whatever you say, I do." Hearing that, my face betrayed me and got hot all over again. Who would have thought? A ghost who's been buried for 1,000 years, and she's somehow pure as a blank page. I couldn't think of a better solution, so I figured I'd let her stay and teach her how modern life works. She stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection like she'd never seen one before. I tested the waters. "So you'll really do whatever I say?" She spun around and sweetly said, "Yes, my dear. Since she said that, I figured I'd start with the absolute basics of daily life. But the second I pulled out a toothbrush, her cheeks flushed, and she just stared at it blankly. I held it up and said, "If you're living here, you brush your teeth morning and night." Then I did a full demo right in front of her. The moment I finished, she immediately popped my toothbrush into her mouth and looked up at me with those big, clear eyes. "Is this how you brush?" I was stunned, but powered through and finished teaching her anyway. Once she was done, I realized with horror that she had been using my toothbrush the whole time. One thought popped into my head immediately. That was basically an indirect kiss. Meanwhile, she was like a kid with a new toy, took a mouthful of water, marched up to the mirror, and gargled with full concentration before spitting it all out clean. Then she looked at me all proud. "My dear, did I do it right?" I kept a straight face and said, "Good enough, you pass." I quickly added, "But don't use my toothbrush again. If you're really staying here, I'll get you your own toiletries." She blinked and gave me the sweetest smile. "Thank you, my dear. Sorry for the trouble." Then I finally asked the question that had been bugging me. "Why are you so sure I'm your husband?" Her expression dropped instantly. She slowly lowered her head and said, "There's so much I can't remember anymore." She paused, then frowned like she was pushing through real pain. "All I know is that you're my husband. Every time I try to think deeper, my head starts killing me." She looked like she was desperately clinging to fragments of memory. "I think I've been searching for something really important, but I just can't remember what it is." After a long pause, she added quietly, "I think it's the hairpin I used to wear." That set off alarm bells in my head, so she got close to me because she was looking for something. How did I end up getting dragged into this mess? Was this lucky or just unlucky? I thought it over and decided to send her to wait in the room first. "Go wait inside. I'll use the bathroom real quick and be right back." But the second I walked in and was about to do my thing, something felt off. I turned my head, and Jiang Li was crouched right next to me, staring intensely at my hands. I was so mortified I could have melted into the floor. "What are you doing in here?" She just looked at me like it was the most obvious thing. "Waiting to walk with you, of course." Dead silence. My face went green. Next second, I booted her straight out of the bathroom and slammed the door shut behind her. With her locked out, I handled my business while my mind started spiraling. Sure, she seems harmless now, but what if she snaps one day? Yeah, she's cute and all, but at the end of the day, she's a ghost. I couldn't seriously let a human-ghost relationship happen. No matter what, I had to figure out a way to send her off. I came out of the bathroom, pushed open the bedroom door, and froze completely. Jiang Li was stretched out on my bed, flipping through a book like she owned the place. I looked closer and nearly had a heart attack. That was my limited edition collector's magazine I'd been saving for years. I lunged for it and grabbed nothing. She floated up to the ceiling, holding it, all innocent-faced, then suddenly reached down and grabbed at my waistband. That scared the life out of me. I stumbled back fast. "What are you trying to do?" she said with complete sincerity. "I'm just following along with what's in the book. My dear, you should take your clothes off first." I short-circuited. "You can't just learn this stuff from a book." I waved her off, trying to shut down that whole train of thought. "Forget everything you saw in that magazine." She pouted and crossed her arms. "I'm not doing it with just anyone." She looked me dead in the eyes. "You're my husband. I would only do it with you." I kept backing up, feeling a headache coming on. "That doesn't make it okay. We literally just met." I desperately steered the conversation away. "Can we please just sit down and talk like normal people?" But deep down, another voice was going absolutely haywire. "I'm still a virgin. There's no way I'm letting it go down like this." And the terrifying part? If she actually pushed it, I honestly don't think I could stop her. For a split second, the most pathetic thought crossed my mind. Maybe I should just accept my fate. But to my shock, she actually sat back down on the edge of the bed without pushing further. And somehow, watching her do that, I felt a weird little pang of disappointment. I shook my head hard, buried that feeling, and redirected. "Let's focus on finding your missing item." But the second I said that, Jiang Li's eyes lit up like she just figured something out. "Oh, I get it now. The people in the book had no clothes on, so I need to take mine off too." She reached for her shirt before she even finished talking. My eyelids started twitching. My face went red to the ears. I was spiraling. She was already standing there with nothing on, staring straight at me. "Will you accept me now?" Then she started backing me toward the wall, step by step, until I could practically feel her breathing. And just before I completely lost it, I grabbed a jacket off the floor and frantically wrapped it around her. She didn't look too happy about it.